This is Dan Max, CDXP Realty, aka the Trading Agents, your live market chat. What is it? Wednesday, July 5th, 2023. Hopefully you had a great long weekend, 4th of July. Hopefully you didn't pay attention too much to the markets on Monday. We talked about trap potential going in, all sorts of fun stuff. Let's dig into it deeply because I think a lot of people are kind of eternally optimistic the market's going to go higher, and then there's people who are eternally pessimistic who think it's going to dump immediately. Let's talk about what's going on. Right now, Europe is having some major problems. Their inflation rates are dumping fast. Their economy's slowing. There's major issues in France. Again, don't want to talk about directly politics of whatever it is. Again, market leadership the breath has been absolutely terrible. A lot of people have anticipated the market rallying. Well, again, market was led by a few names. A lot of things didn't follow. Again, still expecting a recession. When has the Fed ever navigated a soft landing? The Feds want money to pump into the dollar. They're going to want them to feed into interest rates or bonds. Has it been a tough couple months? Again, if you pick the right names, they've done all right. You've been able to trade around your position, long or short. I mean, that's literally been the name of the game. You pick the right names, you did well. You pick the wrong ones, you stopped out. It just kind of is what it is. We try to keep people away from certain sectors that have done basically nothing. Try to keep people from, observing, hey, if you're going to short tech, make sure you have stops. And if you shorted certain other sectors, they did well. But you had to trade around them. It's been one of those things where the market action in itself holds the market to what? Holds the market up. It's really that simple. A lot of people overthink this stuff. Tons of people, honestly. That it's amazing to me how, again, if you're looking for certainty, don't trade. Go buy a house. If you're looking for certainty, do something else. Buy bonds. Stick your money in money market. If you're anticipating the market to always be easily predictable. I mean, I talked about 2021. The IWM went nowhere for the whole year. So you got to be very familiar with the dynamics. Timing is always difficult. If you're trying to play the market from the timing point, that's fine. Just know your levels. But also anticipate you're probably going to be early. The odds that you're going to be spot on when you nail a trade, get in right at the right time. Again, that's why we talk about layering in, layering out. It's not simple. A lot of people anticipate trading to be some sort of game where it's like you roll the dice, you're guaranteed to win. Well, if you're going to play that, you might as well just day trade. And if you're day trading, well, then your time frames have to be significantly shorter. And you just got to do what you got to do. All right, if you're new to the channel, want to join Discord room, links in description. Again, posting what we see on Twitter. I was watching the VIX today. Some people were saying, oh, the VIX is just dead. And I'm like, anytime you hear this like narrative that the VIX is dead, be prepared for it to wake up. That's all I'm going to say on that. Because as soon as the news and the media starts pushing some sort of narrative that the VIX is dead, you need to be scared snotless. Because that's the thing. Once they start pushing narratives at highs and lows, you got to start hearing it like ringing in your ear. You got to start thinking of like something isn't right here because they're really getting people to feel really comfortable with things. Same thing with Meta. We got into some zones that I think it's going to be tougher to get over. We'll keep an eye on that. I mean, again, they're going to try to compete with Twitter. Whatever. I mean, they just add more things. I don't really know if it's really that big a deal. But keep in mind, I noticed this too to the Chapter 11 bank arrangement files up 68% in the first half. That's not good. The commercial real estate, what was it? And a lot of people were comparing some of these previous times to 1983, which I thought was funny because you had Ronald Reagan coming in versus whoever Biden in charge. The actual commercial real estate, what do you call it? Oh man, my brain's farting this morning. I don't know about you guys. Had fun yesterday. On the 4th of July, vacancy on commercial real estate. Oh my God. Unreal. And I've told you guys a banking crisis, it takes as long as it takes before it goes. Now the Feds try to plug the hole, but here's the problem. It's not like business is picking up. GDP slowing. Feds are going to continue raising to kill inflation. It's going to slow down the economy. Again, I talk to tons of people every day. I deal in real estate constantly. I see it. Again, it's like the ship is turning. It's a major big barge. Now, when's the market going to show it? That's the question that everyone's asking. I wish I could tell you. I thought it would be sooner than later, but the reality is it's not. Again, if you get caught up on trying to like be perfect and time things and know that you think it's gonna happen next week, this hour, I'm telling you right now, that is your ego talking. That is lower level mental capacity ego saying everything has to happen when I think it's gonna happen. versus living in the reality that it's a probability-based game and you don't know. So some of the things we're watching, the Fed Watch tool, again, they're anticipating a rate hike coming up in July. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that could change very, very quickly. Very quickly. So that's one of those things. We talked about Bitcoin chopping up here, just flashing through a few of these names. Oil going nowhere fast. Again, I anticipate oil to probably go sideways. Could it rally? I mean, people are saying they're talking about the short spec positioning. I could see that too, but this is the thing. If it rallies even more, the Feds are screwed even more. Again, it's one of these things. Like, if it wasn't for the AI hype, the market would have probably gone sideways to nowhere. But again, the leadership of the very few pulled it up, as we noticed. But then if you dig through the charts, you see it's kind of just been a sideways chop since almost last year, end of last year. And at this point, same thing with like oil, like just nothing. OPEC's going to try to cut. That's what they do. That's what they do. They're going to try to cut the inventory. They're not helping any people. Natural gas, again, you're up against this trend line. Leave it alone. Thing that I keep telling people, watch dollar bonds. Dollar and bonds. They wake up, you're going to see something. They've been trading in tight ranges. Same kind of thing. Dollar 200 day. Keep an eye on that. Bonds. Now, again, I don't really have... I honestly think bonds will get bought because if the Feds are smart, they need to get interest rates down. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. Look at this. Again, market stability while bonds and the dollar have been stable. I've been saying this for months, yet people don't act like they've heard this. Literally saying this for months. And one of the idiots who's posting in the track, trolling constantly. So watch this stuff. If you want to be bullish, be bullish. I just trade around your positions. But again, it's not like we haven't been here describing exactly to a T the evidence we're seeing and predicting this is what's possible. No one's ever sold certainty, Solomon. If you're looking for certainty, again, I don't know why you even bother. So being around, it's like kind of just trollish. Again, it's very immature. But point being, XLF, keep an eye on it. Is this a novice gap trap? We've talked about it. 33s, mid 33s. Now you're up in the higher. Is this like a little pivot point? I would just watch the 200 day. Again, we talked about a million times. No, I don't need an antagonist, Solomon. I'm not a child. This isn't what I would call cartoons. This isn't cartoonage. If you would like to be an antagonist, talk to yourself. I just don't care. And so that's the last time I would reference you. Yeah, keep an eye on this stuff, man. I mean, people are saying higher interest rates, good for the banks. We've said this a million times. I see this in real estate every day. Every day I get emails, price cut, price cut, price cut, price cut, price cut, price cut. Seeing it all over Denver. Denver is one of the strongest markets, so you're seeing it all over. You're seeing commercial stuff. I mean, they're literally cut and pasting it, trying to get the rates down. I'm seeing Airbnb occupancies, again, wow, for this time of year, they should be full to the brim. They're not. How again, when does that play out in the market? I don't know. Is it waiting for some sort of event? That's the thing here. This is what is so freaking hard. People, again, always are like, tell me when. When's this going to happen? Layer in, layer out, define your risk. Same thing over, over, and over. At some point, again, you're playing the odds. That's all you can really do here. But people get excited. Some people get bored. I get it. Some people have to overtrade. That's what they do. So keep an eye on that. Talked about Meta. This is what's interesting. I mean, they're gonna try to compete with Twitter. If this isn't a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event, I would not be surprised. Now, how much higher could it go? I don't know. Could it go a little higher? I mean, it just depends. I mean, you got jobs numbers on Friday. I mean, the jobs numbers are going to be slowly getting worse. It just is what it is. And here you go. You're coming into some level zoom. I mean, you can pull this thing all the way back. This area matters. Period. Bottom line. Coming into it after a straight line move, probably dangerous. Probably dangerous. SMH, talked about it. Head and shoulders. I said this weeks ago that it probably could form some sort of head and shoulders. If this was the head, this would be the right shoulder coming around for the first of the month. Well, here it is. Here's your right shoulder potentially, lighter volume. Are we really going to break out? Too funny. Probably not. Tesla said this a couple weeks ago, said there's always this trend line that could be in play up here. Do you really want to jump in it? Do you really want to jump in shorting it? I don't know. Well, now you've got the novice gap trap, right? This gap, could it get a little higher? Who knows? Who the hell knows? This is the thing. I tell people this all the time. You are lucky if you get the best price. Now, if you've decided to short it today or Friday or Monday, I guess. What day is it? It's not Monday. All right. Just keep in mind, it always could get to the trend line. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. Absolutely keep that in the back of your mind. Now, this is the thing. Do you have to short Tesla? I don't know. You can pick and choose your battles. I think there's better other shorts out there, but put that on the radar. I mean, straight line moves. I mean, it just seems very logical to me. Again, if you try to pull this over, you can see this is old range. Do we get up into here? I mean, how do you want to draw this box? Whatever. It's always possible. Are we waiting on some more news? I mean, they had their deliveries over the weekend, hence the pop on Monday. Do we get to the trend line? How many times have we talked about you can short arm trend lines? I mean, trend lines are very arbitrary. We draw them like, hey, they have to be set in stone. I've seen them break through them and fail. Seen them break short of them and hit them directly. So is it an edge that you can rely on comfortably 100% of the time for the perfect spot? Nope. Absolutely. If you think that, you're an idiot. Because that means you haven't studied the past. That's the reality. Like, I love to say that. Like, oh, I can draw a perfect trend line. It's always going to work. No, I'm not naive. Apple, same thing. Talk about the novice gap. Put some arrows here. Said, could we get to the 138? Always possible. Looking a little tired up here. That's all I can say. And again, Apple, and that's the thing, is we've noticed as the market's gone higher, what has happened, right? The leadership has narrowed dramatically. Absolutely dramatically. These are only a few names leading, right? NVIDIA, catching feelings this morning. I mean, to get another upgrade, I don't know. Just watch the 20-day. I mean, if you really have to short this thing, either wait for another retest of the highs. Maybe it doesn't. I'll wait for the 20-day to break. Because when 20-day breaks, you're getting back to here. Could you fill the gap? I mean, institutions, hedge funds, big holders of long-term holders in NVIDIA have been absolutely unloading their positions. Well, again, are they done unloading? Because that's the question. Because then when they are, there's probably no support. Again, what do the market makers want to do? Right? They want to be able to unload into a positive frame of reference into the market. Because if they start unloading and people catch wind of it and that becomes news, what else happens? What will happen? They'll be selling against themselves. No good. They're still trying to draw in all the future idiots who think AI, again, AI, just like every tech phenomenon. Price is in. And then what? Competition comes endlessly. If it makes tons of money. If it takes tons of money, why wouldn't anyone else come into it? I was laughing about this a couple weeks ago. A buddy of mine was talking about it in NVIDIA. He's like, did you see that AMD is going to make a really good chip? Yeah. Who else is going to also copy their chips? Who else isn't? That's the question, right? Everybody is. That's what they do. Taiwan Semi selling at, I always laugh at them. This one's interesting. Again, this blow off top, I call it the Galaga shoot off, pew, 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 out the top. Going nowhere, sitting on the 20-day. Keep an eye on it. Micron, again, this is what we talked about last quarter. When their earnings, they were so bad that somehow they masked. Again, they put lipstick on the pig, they polished the turd, and then boom, look at their earnings. Again, the competition. Competition comes sideways. Yeah, competition comes everywhere. So again, a lot of these names are just, be careful. Now, is it due to bounce? I mean, it just all depends if the market holds up. Netflix got an upgrade today. Congrats. I can't remember. Definitely a buddy pass. I was watching this one at the open. You would think this thing got I can't remember who gave them a big upgrade, but they're like, oh, yeah, streaming, they're going to win. They're the effects of raising, canceling, sharing, all these things. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it was almost like the broker upgraded it and was like, we have to unload as many shares as possible. And they couldn't even retail couldn't even inundate this to hold this up. They couldn't even get stupid money to hold this thing up. Keep an eye on it. We'll see. Again, tech has led up, so keep an eye on tech near term. Because if you're thinking the market's going to top, tech needs to roll. I've talked about it. And we've talked about it. Tech is starting to show signs. Just a matter of when, not if. Right? Intel, same kind of thing. You pick your favorite name. There's a few names that have been holding up, right? Keep an eye on Amazon up here. Over some of this resistance. But, I mean, could you fill the gap up here at 134? That's always possible. Keep an eye on it. Again, semis have led up. It's interesting materials because we've talked about China's slowing. Europe's slowing. Said materials got their dead cat bounce. First of the month. Look at today's action like US Steel. Whoa. Professional gap. right? New core. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs, right? We've talked about VALE's been going nowhere fast. I mean, there's a lot of these names just economically. Like, again, it's such an interesting market because it's hard to say that I've seen something similar to this where like literally like a couple names. I can't remember where such a heavy weighting of, say, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, Tesla, I mean, literally carry the whole market up. I can't remember a market that concentrated that led up. I just never seen anything like that. You know, maybe this happened when the market was less traded and there's less names, but I don't know. KRE so talked about junior banks, right? Talked about them over short. Remember, everyone's all in short. Like that was just like the hype. Banks are going out of business. Yeah, but could they bounce? Got the bounce, chopping around. This is going to be a bear to get through 43s. We've talked about it. XLF. People are like, why did it bounce here? Why is the banks bouncing? Aren't they going out of business? Yes, they're going to have issues. But look, support. Until it breaks, support is support. Pretty simple. I think in time, and it might be the fall. You know, August is typically pretty bearish. People are saying, well, July is pretty bullish. Now, I wouldn't argue July isn't typically bullish, but here are the circumstances that we're dealing with. We had the best first half of a year ever in the NASDAQ. What if July is just an indecision month? I mean, I've heard this in the message board, and again, everyone has a title of their opinions. My experience, if you have a big up, don't be surprised if July is just a choppy, sloppy month. And then August, it gets a little more wild. Or, is this the blow-off? I don't know. I mean, when you go back and look at the SPY again, just look at it real quick. I think I skipped it, my bad. I'll start with it and go back to it. Here's your novice gap, double top. Here's the monthly. Back testing some old trend lines. Look where we've come from. Where have we gone? Whatever. You can see over to the left, a lot of chop action. I mean, you have to remember this is also some previous ranges. Could it get to 450? I don't know. I mean, it really depends on the leadership. But people, I'm just amazed. Like, these gaps at extremes, keep it on it. Could it be a gap in consolidation? Always. But gaps after a big run. I mean, this is a big run, guys, gals. I mean, 349 up to 445. It's a big run. Things aren't better. But that's the thing. Market climbs the wall of worry. We say that all the time. That can potentially happen. But how many times do I have to say to people, this is tough, but a bear market doesn't bottom with the VIX at 38. Never seen it. I can't believe that for a million years. And if I'm wrong, that's fine. I've said people go, well, when did you go bullish? Take out the highs. Show me new highs in the market, fine. And validate it. Well, but you missed part of the bull market. No. If it's a bull market, taking out the highs is just the start. Right? I always tell this people, they're like, oh, if you miss something. Taking out the highs is just the start, okay? Right? If it's a bull market, right? Taking out the highs is just the start. I'm always amazed at people. They're like, oh, this you got to jump in. I'm like, no. This is just a dead cat. Like, again, we talked about 1970s. What happened in 1970s? I don't have it on my computer because it doesn't chart, but if you have, what is it? Why can't I? Man, my brain. Markets in Motion by Ned Davis Research, the mid-1970s. That bear market rally was insane. And what happened in the 70s? Big, massive trading range. High inflation. I mean, I don't know. Feds need some sort of calculated destruction to get money to roll into bonds. I know that for a fact. Will it play out? I don't know. On my time frame, I don't know. XBI, we talked about, like Baby Bio is breaking trend line, going sideways. Solar, talked about the dead cat bounces that it was probably getting. You know, First Solar, if you've shorted this one up near the highs in the 230s, whatever plus, you're trading around it easy. Easy money. HYG, like to talk about high yield debt because, again, high yield debt is a what? An absolute what? Detail you need to pay attention to, because if high yield debt is acting strong, it means corporate debt's acting good. Junk debt, people are willing to take on risk. Corporate debt's going nowhere. Again, so many mixed signals, but the trolls always say you're just wrong. And it's like, no, we pointed out evidence where certain things have been right. Yeah, have certain things been wrong? Absolutely. And if you trade long enough and you think you're always going to be right, you are sadly mistaken. That's just the problem with trading. Even Bernanke, even Buffett's wrong. Everybody's wrong at some point. That's just trading. People always looking for the easy certainty money. I'm just telling you, it doesn't. Selling cover calls like Buffett does, that's easy. But at this point, again, like gold. I mean, here's another one we were right on. Said leave it alone for the second quarter. Nah, nowhere. Down, 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 down. Slowly. Again, we like gold long term, but wait for the feds to pivot. Wait. I'm telling you, do not jump this. Because if they're raising interest rates, what are they trying to do? Kill inflation. I mean, do you think gold and silver won't get hit? Now, I'd love for them to hold up. But I'd also love for them to get smashed. Because the bigger the drop, the what? The bigger the buying opportunity is. Like, someone was asking me, buying gold? I'm like, no. Appreciate it, Michael. Yeah, I just don't have any, like, desire. Because people are always like, you got to buy the miners. Love miners. Hell fucking no. You don't buy miners in a credit crunch. You buy them after the Feds pivot. Because if you've been in around, you've seen 2008, COVID, and that's why I'm saying, like, if you really want to go on a shopping spree, either you're going to be late for the bull market, you buy over, or you wait for the absolute puke. A bear market bottoms when nobody wants stocks. This phenomenon repeats every time. Are we at a point where bear market would be over because everyone gave up on stocks? I really don't feel like that's such. I mean, you still got people pumping AI and all sorts of things. The bottoms that I remember, and again, could I be wrong? They're depressing. They're very depressing. Like, people don't want to buy stocks. Like, COVID bottom wasn't really like a COVID. Like, it was such a quick move. And we actually called that one because we talked about what was going on in the world. This was a liquidity plug based on a virus to spend money. I think they're tapped out. The federal government is all the governments are getting tapped out. They don't have logic now to bail out the markets until major pain comes. Because people don't like to hear about, you're bailing out the banks. No. We'll see. Again, all of this is predicated on repeating past history, knowing the history. Is it always right? No. It's not. Listen to the Livermore book. I'm telling you, that book is just, so full of so many nuggets. Ag names. We like ag names. Just leave them alone. I'm telling you, just leave them alone. Let them base out. Mosaic. Man, I think you're going to get this one in the 30s. Like, maybe even the upper 20s. Love these names. NTR. Gotta eat. This is going to be a commodity bull market coming after, because that's what happens after tech becomes industrial, commodity, banks, all that stuff. Stuff that does well with inflation. Remember, tech hates inflation because their inputs go up and then their prices of their final products eventually go down. Remember that. Not good business. I'm trying to look at some other names that are interesting. UFPI, because this is a big lumber name. Buddies work there. They're do a lot in Florida, so this is interesting to see if this is topping out. Because if I wouldn't say Florida, say the Southeast. If demand for buildings slows there, they're the last kind of point picking up the market, like that's holding up Florida. And I've heard it's doing okay in places, but there's definitely slowing. I know the West Coast is slowing. Obviously, California's perpetually been slowing. Here in Texas, is starting to slow at certain places. Obviously, the Northeast and Midwest have been kind of dead. This whole work from home kind of phenomenon, that's where you got to keep an eye on that. Colorado is considered one of the places where you can do that. All right. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? If not, I mean, I could just talk about what's going on in my life, what I'm seeing. Talk about whatever you want. Open it up for questions. This is honestly where the most, I think, education comes, because again, you don't really learn a lot until you see things through your eyes and experiences. Because people can say, "Why do you think this? Why do you do that?" It's very easy to criticize thinking of somebody that you don't understand, right? It's very easy. IWM, we talked about it lagging. IWM should be at the 200 plus level, leading higher. So like an M top. Silver with a little bouncy bounce. We talked about it. Oversold. New month, new money, new quarter. Could come in. AM Dizzle. Another one. Yep. Talk about this is a blow off. Talked about it holding the 50-day. So what possible 20-day, maybe the trend line. There you go. Shorted it today. High five. I heard Tampa, Jacksonville, Orlando housing starting to crack a little in Florida. No, that's what I've heard too. I've got friends and family in Florida too. They've been asking around. Agents are very they're like traders in the sense they're like, if the stock starts dropping, they start asking other people why it's dropping. But when it's up, they don't care. You're starting to hear a lot of agents call around, and I see it on message boards, "Hey, what are you guys seeing in your market? What are you seeing in your market?" And they're only asking because it's not hot. When it's hot, they don't give a shit. When markets are good, real estate agents just bury their head and just stay. They don't care. But as soon as they start listing properties and all of a sudden they can't sell them, they don't know what to do with them, you got problems. Talked about Airbnb being like the actual bookings dramatically down. Telling people like, this is interesting. Watch this. Okay, this thing can get pretty volatile, but I'd watch that area. UPS got a labor strike dropping. Popped off the open though. We'll see. We'll see. A lot of stuff going on. Always, as always. The stuff in France and Europe is kind of scary. Again, I don't really like to get into conversation of political religion stuff, but they let in a bunch of immigrants, and guess what? They're not happy. They're not thriving. Oh, they're rioting. Imagine that. I don't know. I don't know what to say. What the right answer. Airbnb bookings going down could bring more inventory to the market. Well, that's the thing, Eric. There's a lot of things going on here. What that could bring inventory into the market. But either way, that's why I keep telling people, I think housing in general, there's a shortage because they're not building enough. But that's why I think housing prices will be stable but down depending on where you're at. Wolf. Want me to look at thoughts on Wolf? I don't know. It's probably got some news. You're coming into resistance zone. I mean, clearly people took the open and said sell, 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 sell. You're coming into the bottom of the inventory zone. I mean, if you have matching inventory here of a capitulation, so someone bought it up here, I mean, I don't know, would they sell it for a 20% gain? I don't know. Wolf Speed, I've heard of this, but I don't know what they do. Again, fundamentals, I don't really pay attention too much. It's always good for the story when they're painting it up. I mean, that's not really what you want to see on a gap up. Because right now it's being met with more sellers than buyers. Yes, the price action is up. But think about it. If you're selling, you don't want it to tank. You just want to unload into the inventory of buyers. So I would keep an eye on this. And typically after a gap down or gap up, you'd like to see continuation, right? Continuation. But let's see if there's gap up. But see, that's the candle you want to see for strength, right? Let's see if this has a history. Yeah, gap up, strength. Gap up and then flop. Yeah, this is a tough one. That big red candle on a gap up, not so hot. MP Materials, big move on China news, sold down a bit. Yeah, I mean, China's talking about curtailing their metals. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these names. I mean, this is the thing that's so hard about this stuff. We like these names long term, right? But here's the thing. I think the global recession that's coming is just natural. I mean, you had such a long period of a bull market, and then you fed it with crack cocaine, with COVID, right? COVID stimulus. All this liquidity is getting pulled out. Or it's not sustainable. So at worst, you're going to get choppy basiness. But I'm really thinking that, again, the best times to buy material. Now, I know China's trying to do cuts, but here's the problem. Don't we always know when countries start cutting rates, they got problems? Right? Can people acknowledge that? We've talked about that 1,000 times. When the feds decide to start cutting rates, it's because things are not good. Not good. Right? Well, China's not good. Rare earth metals, whatever, you know what I mean? I'd be careful. It's kind of like all this stuff that we like in this commodity sector. Trade it as you may, or just do like I'm going to do and just wait until the end. Just wait. Wait till this blows out. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what. Now, again, could some of these names hold up better than others? Maybe. But if you've ever traded with the VIX in the 80-plus range, you're going to see stocks and names move so fucking fast, your head's going to spin when they sell them and liquidate, because everybody's going to get margin called. Institutions, hedge funds are going to be getting redemptions at an incredible rate. People are just going to be forced to sell everywhere. Even the CME will put margin requirements, targets on the freaking commodities, and everything will get liquidated. And it's almost like it's intentional. It's like, hey guys, now that we've unloaded into dumb money at the highs, let's make sure we crash it at the lows. Because then we can buy and get rich again and do it all over. Does that make sense? Now again, you can trade these names. 27, I mean, I don't know. 100 days been pretty important. 100 day. 100 day. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I think there's more logic in shorting names, but recently has not been ideal. But you pick and choose your battles. If you own this name after this big of a base, this gap up, yeah, again, I think everything's kind of a trade unless you're shorting for a bigger move. Long, I don't see there's a ton of upside. That's the question you have to ask yourself constantly. How much upside is in your long trades? I don't know. Every trade's a little different. But I don't see commodities becoming the Nvidias. I don't see them going nuts. Or the Tesla or the Metas. So I think those have to be very specifically traded around. You make 10, 15, 20%, bail. Raise your stop. Take some off. Whatever fits your style. Any other specific questions? Sedge. Talk about trend line breaks and then rebounds and then boom. Said that action on Monday was not good for them. Nope. Some good trades out there if you want to take them. Posting the ideas. Dropping them in the... Again, if you don't watch the daily recaps, well, it's always funny to me. People ask questions. I'm like, I guess you didn't watch the recap. And someone's like, oh, what do you want to short Tesla? I'm like, I don't know if I would do it just on their announcement, but I would watch the price action up here. Now, again, I haven't paid attention to briefing today, but let me just double check. I'm about 1,000% certain that at some point someone's going to upgrade Tesla at the highs and give some stupid price target. Does that get it to the trend line? Right? That's probably my guess. Oh, no, that's my guess. But I could be wrong. Yeah, I heard China was knocking down Anak. Yeah, like, dude. What you hear and what you see and going on in the world is crazy right now, because the stuff that I saw in France, dude, they've billions of dollars of damage from this rioting. It's almost like the summers of BLM in North America. Yikes. But again, that stuff could be going on a while. Caterpillar, a little lower high. It's kind of running through some names. You go, man, there's just so much to watch right now in the sense of inflection points. QQQ, excuse me, up here retesting. Go look at the monthly. It's interesting. Again, I haven't drawn this, but you can see pretty clearly. You've got some stuff here. The summer of love. Yes, the summer of economic, financial, political love. Red alert. White substance found at the White House. Someone taste it first before they call it in for anthrax. Sorry, the comedy that is American politics is hilarious. Both sides, bunch of gosh darn idiots. Still waiting for good people to get into politics, but there's no money in it unless you're cheating. Hazmat suits for cocaine. Yep, that's right. Calling the team to taste test team. It's the good stuff, man. All right, any other thoughts, questions, concerns? If not, I'll wrap it up. Gives a new meaning to the White House. Yes. I don't know if Amazon delivers cocaine to the White House. Be glad when the Fed finally says something good. I don't think the Feds are going to be able to say anything good. They've been trying to keep this whole idea that they can manage a soft landing. And I don't think they've ever done it. No, of course they haven't. They don't manage soft landings. Neither do they manage soft bubbles. They can't do it. Because again, the more the market becomes reactive, proactive, the bigger the liquidity becomes tied to their actions. Again, think about what it does. It creates vacuums and voids and spaces in the actual liquidity game. So tough for them. But again, I mean, raise rates as they do, whatever. China's cutting because everything's great, right? Okay. Europe's next. I mean, I'm not saying I know for sure, but if it's a domino effect, what European country is going to need a bailout next? Right? No, wrong answers only. No, right? Switzerland? Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, France, the UK, because they're not in it, but Germany. They always mess up. Yeah. They always mess up. They raise rates to a point, and then as soon as they start cutting rates, the market dumps because people go, oh, it's going to get bad. They're not cutting rates because things are amazing. It's like buy the rumor, sell the news. Now again, they're talking about a rate hike coming up. This is what is so hard is we've not gone from such it's like the biggest rate percentage move hike in history in like a year. And remember, interest rate policy has a lagging effect. So 3-6 months. So we're only catching the stuff from last fall. It's tough to know. It's tough to know. AIO. That's all I can say is that's the pump. It's interesting since AI pump. Again, if you go look at the Google Analytics of who's AI stocks, that has peaked, and so have some of the names that have gotten the AI pump, which is interesting. That's a new little phenomenon of the last decade, where if you go look at the Google Analytics of a trend of a stock, and then also what it's trending on search-wise, it's amazing how they start to line up, right? Someone knows something. They always mess up. All right, I'm gonna let y'all run unless there's some more questions. Again, promise yourself higher level thinking. Don't trade based on the ego. That's the best way I like to describe it, because I actually, here, I'll give you guys some insights into what's going on in my life. I realized my higher self could only be focused in the markets in my business. I was delinquent of investing my proper self into my own marriage. Now, I'm not going to say things were perfect by any means, but when you're not present for the people that you think you need to be all the time, it's a problem. I try to make sure every time I put the mic in my face, anytime I try to talk to people in business, I am mentally present. I didn't do that for my wife, sadly. Not about finances, not about crazy, anything nutty. If you're not present in that higher level thinking, when you talk and interact, and this is why it applies to trading. This is why people are like, how's your marriage stuff going? I'm like, oh, it'll get fixed. It'll take time. Yeah, people are in different mind spaces, but here's the thing, right? You have to be willing to admit you're wrong. And when you're wrong, it's a higher level thinking, right? The ego is about survival, right? All or nothing, survival. How to imprint upon your psyche something as dangerous or winning. Well, what's the reality in life? Is everything really that dangerous? Or is everything actually that great? Do your emotions spin up based on the price action? Do your emotions spin up based on whether you're winning or losing? Or are you staying in that higher level mind and present to the market going, this is what I know is coming. This is what I know could happen. This is what is possible. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stick to my damn plan. And I'm not going to sit here and create delusions of grandeur. Well, that type of thinking can be dangerous in your day-to-day life if it's not understood. And not to say that that's how I treated how our interaction in our marriage was, but it was more of just not aware, right? Like there's no excuses for the small things, right? Because say you're not in the mood to talk to someone, say you're just not. This is what's interesting. You don't even realize it from day to day. The presence of mind that's why I tell people, like, emotional capital, if you're using it all up in the markets, you don't realize you might be neglecting folks in your life. Same thing with your work. For me, I stay super duper busy all the time. That's why the last couple of months, or not, like 6 weeks, I was like, I got to slow everything down. I got to see where all my problems started. Because again, that's what I've always done in trading. If I'm making mistakes, where do they come from? You got to relive the past and go through and analyze it. How did I get to the point that I got to in parts of my life? Parts of my marriage, parts of my family life. Neglect, right? Not being present. Not doing the small things, right? They add up, man. Again, people know, some people know the whole story, but again, I don't mind talking about it because I think it's beneficial for people to hear this kind of story. Like, every moment matters. It's the same thing as in, like, trading. Like, it matters, right? Like, your decisions from day to day. Like, if you're going to do this, do this. Same thing. When someone asks for, say your wife, your husband, whatever, comes up to you and asks you a question, give them your full presence. If not, then you're not really involved. And it's like in trading. It's like not being aware of what's going on. You make a small mistake. Well, I told myself if we gapped up, I would sell some. And you don't. And then you just sit there and you bury it and you don't think about it and you let it go. Well, think about that within interpersonal communication and emotional intelligence with friends and family. They may have told you something so big to them that seems maybe not that important to you. But at the time, it's kind of it's the ability to open up their communication, right? If you can't hear them on something small, do you think they trust you with being able to open up to the big things going on in their life or the things that they're thinking about, their futures? That's where I fucked up. Again, trust. It wasn't that I couldn't be trustworthy, but if somebody is talking and telling you things, the best way for them to feel before they can open up to the bigger issues, bigger problems, bigger insecurities, bigger anxieties in their lives, especially within couples, learning this better late than never, It's the small things. If you can't even oblige them to those processes to help them with the little things, why would someone open up? And it's the same thing in trading. Think about it. If you can't execute the small little things day to day, they lead to bigger problems potentially. And that's where higher level thinking is crucial in all parts of your life, and emotional capital. If you can't, and that's why people are like, what have you been doing? I can't trade a ton while I'm focused on bettering myself, bettering my communication, bettering my marriage, bettering the conflicts that are in my life. Like, why would I sit here and watch 7 hours a day when I know something just as important is in my life that I need to take care of? And so that's where you got to be careful. If you get wrapped up in trading, and again, think about my life. Real estate stuff never ends. Trading stuff never ends. Creating content never ends. Being involved, trying to help people never ends. If you don't fill your own cup, you can't fill others. And I basically did the opposite. I tried to fill a lot of other people's cups, and it burned me out to the people that I really care about. And guess what? They were the collateral damage. And that's where people were like, well, you know, especially when the stories of again, if you got to go, you got to go. I'm just talking. I just think people want to know what's going on. For me personally, again, collateral damage. Everyone's caught in the wave of it because I'm able to do so many things for other people. But then as soon as I get like some time and space where I'm not, I couldn't be present. I just was like, I need to do this, or I'm doing, I'm missing out on this. And you kind of get in this mindset and you don't realize it, where you're not supporting the most important things in your own life too, right? It's not only the people, but things. It's like, all right, you're just giving and giving and giving. You're doing all these things. And it applies to trading. That's why I tell you, like, day trading is the bane of most people's existence because they don't realize what it does is it takes energy, it takes time, and it takes so much away from their lives that it puts them in a mentally anxious place that energy is depleted, but then that anxiousness is transferred into their personal lives. And I'm telling you right now, that shit is, again, it's like living at a casino. Do you think the people around you think it's healthy that you're just gambling all day? Because that's what day trading is. Now, again, if you're cognitive about it, you have one trade, you're in and out, this is what you're doing, great. But if you're literally going from day trade to day trade to day trade to day trade all day, looking for an entry every minute and an exit potentially at any moment, and you're just jumping around, that is emotional capital, mental capital that you cannot replenish until you fill your cup. Filling your cup means going to the gym. It might be going for a long walk, decompressing, going for a hike, reading a book. Again, everybody has their own thing. But I'm telling you, that kind of mental energy, and again, I give so much, and I don't even day trade. I'm just doing so many other things. It's the same shit. It will literally affect other parts of your life. And so sometimes that's why I tell people, like, how's your trading going? How's your life going? Well, examine how your relationships are going. Maybe I'll end it there. Like, think about that. Maybe it's a relationship with your kids. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, I cannot connect to this kid. I'm like, well, what have you done to try to? Spent time? You gone on a trip with them solo? You tried to build some like personal time with them? Oh no, they're in school. All they want to do is hang out. I was like, dude, you need to take her like camping, or take her up to like just a weekend trip. You and her connect with your daughter. All right, say you're struggling with your spouse. Make them feel good. Do something different, dude. I'm telling you right now, like, this is. Everyone look, and this is what's hilarious. And hilarious. I don't know. People go, I thought you had the best marriage in the world, Dan. You're a good guy. You're honest. You're trustworthy. You go after and you take care of her. You've done everything you can. That's what I thought. That's the irony here. But here's the thing. Whereas the communication broke down, I didn't realize there was unhappiness in her that she couldn't communicate because I didn't have the potential to like be a good partner. Well, what happens over time? Frustrations, anxieties, insecurities, emotional connections depleted. That's where I'm at. It's sad to say. It is sad to say that I wasn't aware of that. And again, that's why I love the Discord room. And I've said this a million times. In trading, you have two eyes and a brain. Having people around who can help and coach you, that is invaluable. That's why it's always free. Because sometimes there's going to be a comment from somebody who's like, hey, did you look at this? You look at, nope, I did not. Thank you for checking that out. Same thing in your life and your communications with your family. Telling you, man. Telling you, it's very similar. If you're not aware of all of those things and you're putting in those energy and your presence, and you're thinking about trading or money or your work, or again, you don't have to give people a ton of time, but just be there. The time that you give, be full. So again, I wish my wife was listening because she understands, and we're currently separated, but that's the thing. Like, I have to give her space. I have to let her figure her things out. We talk regularly. She knows what's going on, but here's the thing, man. Sometimes what happens with this stuff, again, it's all meant to be. I don't fight anything. Again, if everything is people say everything happens for a reason. I don't believe that. I think everything happens for a lesson. You're supposed to learn something, right? For a reason, yeah, I don't know. Thanks for the reminder. Your thoughts make me think of my life and where I can improve. Thanks for having strength to share your story. Yeah, no, dude, that's what's ironic is like some of the happiest people that you think, right? You literally think they look happy and everything's great, and you don't know that they're depleted in other parts of their life. And that's where I'm trying to make sure other people don't fuck that up. Because again, it's just like another blind spot, just like something in your life you don't know. You didn't realize. And again, if you take absolute ownership, that's where, again, if you're great at trading, you take absolute ownership because you realize all mistakes are yours and you can better, you can learn something, you can do something different, you can implement plans a little better, you can base your action on what's going on in the market. But I'm telling you right now, you can be the greatest trader in the world. You can be Elon Musk. You can be whatever, Jeff Bezos. These guys, guys and gals, do really well at their tasks and their jobs and things that they love. But they've all at times neglected parts of their family and the parts of their loved ones. And guess what? Everybody's susceptible to this because, again, we're all only human. But just be aware. Just be aware. Yeah, relationships, man, that sucks, Shannon. I mean, that's the thing. That is just the thing with life, though. So as much as I love trading, we could sit here and talk about it. And again, I don't mind giving ideas, but if you are mentally not making sure you're checking all your bases, doing all the things right in the behind the scene. Because again, trading, making money is great. But it's not the key to happiness, right? I would trade everything I've made in the last 2 years. Everything. To go back in time 2 years and with the knowledge I have now, because I would not be where I'm at. Making money I don't care about. That'll all come. But to hurt, and again, it's not like people know that I'm not an angry, frustrated person. I'm not going to yell and scream or say anything that, again, it's not being present that led to some of the things that happen. Not handling situations with the full energy and understanding of what people expect, feeling loved back. That sucks, man. That sucks. Didn't take any vacations, all in, real estate, trading, watch stuff all the time, no time off, no time to recharge. Bad. So bad. Pushed away the people I love. I didn't even realize it until I look back at it. I'm like, it was the little things, the little ask. Hey, what do you got going on? I got to do this. Don't do it. I'm telling you. Do you still think there will be a capitulation down move to get out of the bear market? Yeah, I mean, that's all. Bear market's all in the same. They all in the same. Again, this credit crunch, as we've talked about 1,000 times, it's a slow building burn. The further you get into the credit crunch, less money that's going to be lent, less there are people who truly qualify for loans, right? More and more people are stretched. Let's keep that in mind. Obviously, the rich will be rich, but think about the middle class just dwindling down. But in general, businesses dwindling down, small businesses struggling. Credit tightens up. It gets harder and harder for them to loan. Their margins were already thin. It's a self-fulfilling disaster. When? I don't know. But could the feds pump liquidity forever? That's the question. I mean, that is ultimately what is holding us up. This is not based on fundamentals. It's all liquidity based. So I'll leave it there on that. I appreciate all you guys. Yeah, commercial real estate is a fucking bomb exploding. Talk to you guys and gals later. Peace.